time, your favorite movie stars time, your favorites time. You know how I rock. You know how it goes. You know what the vibes be. All rights reserved. Let's talk about it now. Let me get into this real quick because this is going to be relevant to the live stream and other things we're talking about. Red sweater and witnesses, bad vibes. Was there bad vibes afloat from the individuals that claim they rode up on the scene and got some information? Now spam and repost this video out to as many people as you can. If you got Instagram, you know it's CZARR_, all rights reserved, all one word. Hit me up on Instagram, follow, support the channel. Also slide by Queen Prodigy 0369, the new Instagram, and support Queen Prodigy as she is someone who's going to come up on one of the live days. Now let's get into this. Red sweater, that's all we're going to call him. I seen the sheet, I seen his name. Shout to the sources I had at one point that displayed this to me. And the witness, yes, the witness named Victor, the individual who no longer has been there according to his words. When we had someone openly go on his post and ask why he posted a photo they took like he was clout stealing. Who was clout stealing, and how did they derive the energy to steal this picture and the photo altogether and the claim like they got the first heads up? Because that's where I first saw it. I told y'all that many times. I first saw it on the page, so when someone says they weren't there, that's what makes me curious. Now, once again, we see the witnesses are very quiet. What is the reasoning behind this? If there was allegedly a suspended investigator working with the case, wouldn't they have been working in collusion? Or was they doing something they weren't supposed to do with the information that they gained or received in some way, shape, or fashion? A lot of people forgot about these witnesses. We ain't forget when y'all went live and y'all said my name and you said I was some crazy old guy. How old do I really look to you? How crazy do I really look to you? No matter of fact, how can you even say you can match my IQ? We're way different, and you knew this. Yet you continue your road of slander. Block me on Twitter. That's cool. Doesn't matter to me. Slide over to the Twitter @ capital ALL capital CZARR. You know what it is. And shout to the J. Cole song called Middle Child that is now popping up when you type in CZARR. Type in CZARR and go search that and see it. If you scroll down, you'll see that along with the real Dana. Support her channel as well. But rock with TheCzarr real quick. Where do these witnesses fit in? The information we had derived was that people showed up on the scene, and we even seen a fake news broadcast. Why has no one talked about that? Now, they alleged it was Amari that was doing the interview of it. I'm well aware who that is. We did research. I just don't find the relevancy of her even being around there yet. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Don't worry about that. Now, I talked about a pseudo news anchor a while back. And I also talked about the witness named Victor before anybody said a word. Why? And why, after I began that, did the slander begin? Did the hatred begin? It was because I was exposing people's actions around the scene that were doing things a certain way that I felt had nothing to do with what was actually important. But they slandered me, said stop picking on people. How am I picking on someone who says that they were there and knew everything? How do you pick on someone that claims that they know exactly what they're doing? It's like if we go into a basketball game, LeBron James turns to someone who's playing, says, you know what you're doing? Right. The game gets started. He's like, I thought you said you knew what you were doing. Where you at with it? I don't get it. Where you at with it? But that's just one part of the larger puzzle. Now, we still ain't get word back from Riva Motorsports. I reached out to try to talk to them multiple times. They're too busy, and they're pleading the fifth over the phone, asking me to show my badge or some sort of investigative credibility for them to speak to me. You mean so you could tell me those alleged lies? That's what I need, credibility. Have we ever heard of a company pleading the fifth if they had nothing to do with a situation? Let's say you got absolutely nothing to do with it. Why would you plead the fifth? You're saying, oh, I can't talk about the case. Why? Are you on the witness list? I don't see none of your names on the witness list. If I'm wrong, someone show me I'm wrong. I don't see none of your names on the witness list. I don't. Today, I don't. That's my problem. I don't see none of you on the witness list. You're pleading the fifth. We got a witness backtracking his presence. Do you get how large that is? That's like me saying, hey, I'm here under the iconic pole. Then I'm like, nah, TheCzarr Rice Reserve was never there. What? What? You had images up. You claimed to this pseudo news anchor in the story that you ran when shots were fired and you heard him say a certain phrase. You said it with your face on the screen. Did people forget about that? Are we in the Twilight Zone? Are we in the Twilight Zone? Greatest nation since United Nations? No, we ain't. No, we ain't. We just learned to pick apart the BS that you try to produce and claim you're so credible. So let's do it this way. If you were not really there, and if you weren't on a live on the channel that you had talking with someone about this series going down the way it did, why all the hatred? If I'm so not credible and I'm so off base, why haven't you presented proof to prove otherwise? That's my problem. You can hate, you can say different things, but you can never prove otherwise to anything we've discussed to say, look, here's the facts. Look, here's the facts. Let alone us asking for credible documents. Oh, those can't go public. Why? Why? They showed people who they assumed were suspects face public. They publicly made certain claims and publicly went live and publicly hopped on posts and was saying, oh, I know what happened. I seen this happen. Oh, we went to the hospital. You weren't there. Why does that mean anything? Oh, like a crazed fan, you ran to the hospital because you heard someone was hurt. But how many concerts did you go to? How many times were you there to support someone? Matter of fact, if you're so supportive and so respectful, why didn't you show up when this was all going down? Oh no, you show up right after. Oh, we heard this happen. Let's run and see what's happening. Just like those nosy folks that stop in the middle of the road when things are going on to see what's going on. Are you kidding me? Nosy. You're nosy. That's why. It's just this time your nosiness seems to have a synonymous factor with you being present for something that's questionable altogether, let alone you hop up here on social media and make certain claims and think you're not going to be called out on it because you're making it to an audience that doesn't really know the details as of yet. But the minute we start questioning the critical factors of the details is when you backtrack because you really don't have answers and it really starts to implicate you in many different ways you really didn't know. But then again, you really don't care because you wanted to get the acclaim and the followers, which you got from it. But then when I called you out on you getting your followers and the situation went up, do I really need to talk about it? Are you really getting where I'm coming from? Do you see how no matter what, you lose? You lose in this situation. Stop the slander. Be honest. Were you there or not? Why would you lie about being there if you weren't? What's the purpose? What do you gain? I tell you what you gain. You gain followers. You gain an audience of people to speak to because you weren't nothing before this. Not even with the music. Let's be real. You gained a lot of attention from attention seekers who want to believe you to be true. I know this for a fact. Now first let me tell you my fact. Until I started speaking about gathering information, one of you, name if I hopped in your inbox to say anything. I'll give it a second. But I found out you guys were hopping in people's inboxes trying to convince them against me and tell them I'm crazy and all sorts of things. But you know when you call someone crazy that you got to stand on that and you got to prove it in some way? No, do you know when you call someone crazy that more attention is gained by what they're trying to say? And when you look logically, you're like, wait, why would he be crazy? He's asking what I'm thinking. That's why we're different. Because I know the human mind and I know how to ask questions others were thinking because I was thinking it. If you're a human being, you were thinking it. You see, that's the problem. You're not looking for any type of justice or solution. You're looking to justify your actions within the situation. That's what it was. I know what it was. That's to the witnesses. That's to the investigators. That's to the fake experts. That's to the people who claimed they had good in their mind. That's to the people who slid up here making comments. That's to every person that hopped on here and talked about anything but the subject I brought up. Y'all don't find that funny? That when we're talking about a subject, like we're asking about the red shirt guy, why the witness named Victor backtracked, why Little P or whatever her name is was hopping in here going at other commenters because of their opinion. Doesn't that make you question their intentions? Someone alleged y'all were crisis actors. That's just the problem. You can show up to act in a crisis, but when it's a crisis on you, you want everyone to gather around and kumbaya. You have no respect for others' lives, but you want respect for yours. That's why CommenterNation exists. Everybody's somebody. And if you don't see that, keep it moving. Keep it moving. And you know how we rock. How we always all rights reserved.